I've known this man for 26 years, married to him for 17. He's a remarkable husband, a terrific human being.
She stood at a podium in a blue blazer in the fall of 2003, and she looked directly into the cameras and she said the man standing beside her was an A-plus human being. 22 years later, at 70 years old, Maria Shriver is finally telling people what that day actually cost her, and it isn't the story anyone expected. Because here's the twist nobody saw coming. Maria Shriver isn't most haunted by the affair. She isn't most haunted by the secret son. She is most haunted by herself, by the women in the blue blazer who chose her husband's ambition over the women who were telling the truth. And if you sit with that for a second, you start to understand that this isn't really a divorce story at all. It's a story about what it costs a woman to keep believing her own performance.
I did not know how to heal. I had just started going to therapy at the end of my marriage.
To understand why, you have to go back to where Maria Shriver actually came from. Because nothing about how she handled the next 25 years makes sense without it. She wasn't just a journalist who happened to marry a movie star. She was a Kennedy. Her mother Eunice was John F. Kennedy's sister. Her uncles ran the country and buried its scandals in the same breath they used to run for office. And every woman in that family had learned the same unspoken rule before they were even old enough to understand it. You do not ask questions about what the men do when the cameras are off. You smile, you endure. You protect the name. Maria didn't have to be told this rule directly. She absorbed it, the way children absorb the temperature of a house. It was simply how the women around her survived. So when a 21-year-old Maria met a 30-year-old Australian bodybuilder with an accent thick enough to cut glass at a charity tennis match in 1977, she thought she was doing something rebellious. She thought she was choosing the opposite of everything her family had modeled her for. A loud, unpolished, ambitious outsider instead of another polished political heir. What she didn't realize, what she has only recently allowed herself to say out loud, decades later, is that she wasn't breaking the pattern at all. She was repeating it, just with better lighting and a bigger paycheck. Different accent, same architecture. They dated for 9 years before Arnold Schwarzenegger proposed her. 9 years is a long engagement for two famous people who could have married any time they wanted, and insiders who covered Hollywood at the time will tell you why it took so long. Because during those 9 years, the rumors about Arnold never stopped. There was talk about affairs on set. There was talk that never made it past the gossip columns because nobody wanted to cross a Kennedy. Maria heard all of it. She confronted him more than once. He denied it, then admitted pieces of it, then promised her it won't happen again. And somewhere in those 9 years, without ever saying it out loud, Maria made the first of many private deals with herself. She would love him, but she would not fully trust him. And she would build a wall thick enough that the difference wouldn't matter day to day. In April of 1986, she walked down the aisle anyway. In a wedding so big it became a piece of American pop culture history in its own right. What almost nobody talks about is the deal she made with herself that day, not with Arnold, with herself. She decided she would manage this marriage instead of question it. She would be the smartest woman in the room and still chose deliberately not to look too closely at her own house. That is not naivety. This is a strategy, and for over a decade it worked. She built her own career at NBC. She won an Emmy. She had 4 children. She became by every outward measure one of the most accomplished women in the country. And underneath all of it, sitting quietly in the corner of the story that almost never gets told, was a woman named Mildred Baina. The housekeeper, the woman who had worked in that home for around 20 years. The woman who did the laundry and helped raise those same 4 kids. In 1996, while Maria was away with the children, Arnold and Mildred slept together. Nobody in that house had any idea, not yet. Then in 1997, 2 women under that roof were pregnant within days of each other. Maria gave birth to her youngest son, Christopher, on September 27th. Mildred gave birth to a boy named Joseph 5 days later, on October 2nd. 2 half-brothers, born less than a week apart, raised blocks away from one another inside the same family orbit, one as the son of the house, one as the son of the woman who cleaned it. For 14 years, that boy grew up in and out of Maria's world. He played in that yard, he was around at holidays, and slowly, as he got older, he started to look unmistakably like his father. The jaw, the build, the walk. People around the family started noticing. Staff whispered. Even tabloid writers began sniffing around the resemblance years before the truth ever broke publicly. Maria noticed too. And this is the part of the story that women who've lived anything close to it will recognize immediately in their bones. She noticed, and she talked herself out of it over and over for years. Not because she was foolish, because once you actually let yourself see something like that clearly, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, everything you've built your entire adult identity around starts to crack at the foundation. So she did what she had trained herself to do since childhood. She looked past it. She told herself a version of the story that let her keep getting up in the morning. She held that crack together for years. Through election nights, through her husband's inauguration as governor, through birthday parties where she stood in the same room as the truth and chose again not to reach for it. Then within a short stretch of time between 2009 and 2011, she lost both her parents, Eunice and then Sargent. The two people whose approval had quietly shaped every decision of her adult life were suddenly gone. And with them gone, something in Maria loosened, the way a structure loosens once the load-bearing walls are removed. She and Arnold had already started marriage counseling by that point, trying to patch something that had been failing quietly for years underneath the public smiling. And it was in one of those sessions, with a therapist sitting between them as a kind of buffer neither of them could provide for themselves anymore, that the question finally got asked out loud. Was Joseph Arnold's son? Arnold has since said his own heart stopped in that moment. He told the truth.
Because of my doing this stupid thing, I got into the situation that I'm in.
Maria had already suspected it for years. She had already gone to Mildred directly and had it more or less confirmed, woman to woman away from the cameras. But hearing her husband say it to a stranger in a room out loud, in front of her, that is reportedly what finally broke something in her for good. Something that all the quiet management in the world couldn't smooth back over. She filed for divorce that same year, after 25 years of marriage. Here's where Maria's story splits off from almost every celebrity divorce script you've ever heard. She had every excuse in the world to burn Arnold down publicly. She had the platform, she had the sympathy of the entire country. She had, by some estimates, a $400 million marital estate to fight over. And because there had never been a prenup, California law entitled her to roughly half of it. She could have gone the tell-all route. She didn't. The case dragged on quietly for a decade, finally settling in private in December of 2021, out of the public court system, on her own terms and her own timeline. Instead of a revenge tour, Maria did something almost nobody expected from a Kennedy raised on the gospel of image management. She turned the story inward, toward herself, instead of outward toward him.
But I sit here today in love with my life, deeply grateful. I'm at peace.
She started writing a best-selling collection of reflection in 2018, and years later, a deep personal book of poetry confronting grief, identity, and what it actually feels like to rebuild a life after the foundation you stood on for 25 years turns out to be hollow underneath you. She launched her own media company. She built the women's Alzheimer's movement in her father's memory. She went back to NBC as a special anchor, and at some point, quietly without any announcement, she dropped Schwarzenegger from her professional name altogether. She's simply Maria Shriver now, a name she chose for herself, after a lifetime of carrying other people's. But the detail she keeps circling back to in recent years isn't the affair. It isn't even Joseph. It's October of 2003, the day multiple women came forward publicly accusing her husband of groping and humiliating them on movie sets. Going back decades, and Maria walked out in front of the press and defended him anyway. She has said in her own words over the years that she wasn't shocked by that scandal, the way the rest of the country was. She'd heard versions of it for years, and she chose in that specific moment, standing in front of cameras with her husband's political future hanging in the balance, to protect him over believing women who were telling a truth she already half knew. She has never issued a formal public apology to those women. But people close to her say that press conference is the one thing she still cannot make peace with, heavier, in her own mind, than the affair, heavier even than the 14 years she didn't let herself see what was standing right in front of her at every birthday party and every holiday dinner. Because the affair was Arnold's choice. The housekeeper's silence was her own choice. But what happened at that podium in 2003, that was Maria's. Nobody made her say those words. She chose them. So here's the question worth sitting with. If you'd spent 9 years watching the warning signs before you even said I do, would you have walked down that aisle anyway? And if you are a woman who has ever defended someone you already suspected was lying to you, does Maria's story feel like forgiveness, or does it feel like it came decades too late? Because somewhere in the answer to that question is the same woman who once stood at a podium in a blue blazer and told the world he was an A+ human being. That is what it actually cost her. Not the marriage, not even the son she didn't know about for 14 years, but the version of herself who could still say those words and mean them. She didn't stop being her. She just, at 70, finally stopped believing her own words. And maybe that's the real ending here. Not a scandal, not a settlement. Not even a secret son grown into a man who looks just like his father. Just a woman who spent 25 years managing everyone else's truth. Finally sitting down to face her own. If this story moved you, hit subscribe, because the next one might hit even harder.